These are all people going to be on welfare soon. Yes, there are machines that can now pick strawberries.
You cannot
strawberries, tomatoes, and you don't have to pay them Social Security.
By machines.
You don't. That's because
people who come to this country with their families.
All right.
You know what? But you won't. You will not recognize the justice of their neighbor.
The answer is you can mechanize Americans.
We're not going to. You know what? This is over.
I knew I'd be talked over and I couldn't answer.
Yeah, I know.
I pointed it out to him.
All right. And also...
So we didn't, in other words, we didn't need 30 million Mexicans. We already had African Americans, and I mean African Americans, not immigrants, and we already had the Puerto Ricans.
And what about...
I'm just stating we didn't need the 1965 Act for all this vibrancy we're getting, because we're getting a lot of crime and welfare use.
Your imaginary friend, Jesus Christ?
And Coulter's appearance on Real Time with Bill Maher was nothing short of a masterclass in debate. Facing off against a panel of so-called woke commentators, including Joy Reid, a familiar face in mainstream media, Coulter didn't just push back, she systematically dismantled their arguments with precision and confidence. Watching her take apart their talking points piece by piece was both fascinating and entertaining. You could see the tension in the room as the panelists struggled to counter her logic, their expressions shifting from smug certainty to outright disbelief. It's moments like these that make for great television, when the usual media echo chamber is disrupted by someone unafraid to challenge the narrative. Whether you agree with Coulter or not, you can't deny that she knows how to command a debate and leave her opponents grasping for a comeback. Now, let's dive into this clip and watch as she once again proves why she's one of the most formidable voices in political discourse.
Because of many of the people that you refer to as murderers and rapists and criminals and people that are on welfare are their aunts, their uncles, their classmates, they work with them. These are people they care about. So what I think that Ann Coulter is actually doing, along with Donald Trump, is that they're just revving up. You know, it's like a Latino registration machine. Because every time they say these things, now I say this quite seriously, 1 million Latinos turn 18 every year in the United States of America, and they're all American citizens of the United States.
And 4 million
here's what happens. And here's what happens. They become the basis of the new American coalition, the new American political coalition, that is young people, that is Latinos, that is immigrants, it's African Americans, it's Asians, it's gay people, it's people that care about the economy, and it's people that care about the environment. And look, you're never going to take the White House with this kind of politics ever again, because there's a new American.
All right, but that didn't exactly answer her question.
Can I attempt to answer your question, Ms. Coulter? Because I think one of the things that we have to do in this country is to stop lying. We were earlier talking and touched on the issue of slavery. Ever since the forcible removal of millions of African Americans from chattel slavery, this country has been importing new slave labor.
That's right.
Because this country wants and runs and is fueled by cheap labor.
That's
whether it was Puerto Ricans, whether it was people we drew from Mexico to come here and continue to do so, because the people who are on your side, big agriculture.
On my side,
big agriculture, the big corporate interests who want people to come.
Well, she does say that.
I agree with you.
Okay, well, once we bring people here, people's family members, people whose families are born here, are American. Both my parents are immigrants, so I take great exception to any kind of negative characterization of them. I had one come from Africa, my mother came from the Caribbean. When they came here, they came for the same reason that everyone does, for opportunity, for education, and when they're contributing to our society and they have a child here, like me, I'm a first-generation American, and I'm fully American, despite the fact that both my parents were born outside of this.
Okay.
Why on earth would anyone dismiss concerns about the 50 or 50 million as if they don't matter? That's one of the most absurd arguments I've ever heard. It's like saying, why worry about a few murderers when most people aren't killing anyone? Or why focus on crime at all when the majority of people are law-abiding? That kind of logic falls apart instantly. The point isn't about ignoring the vast majority who follow the law. It's about addressing the very real problems caused by the minority who don't. But instead of acknowledging that, this guy tries to brush it off as if it's irrelevant. And honestly, it's embarrassing to watch. He was completely out of his depth, and Ann Coulter barely had to lift a finger to dismantle his argument. You could practically see the moment he realized he was losing, scrambling to reframe his point, but failing miserably. And the best part, this entire discussion aged terribly. Not only did Trump take the White House again, but now the same people who once dismissed these concerns, including Joy Reid, are actually blaming Latinos for his victory. The irony is so thick you could cut it with a knife. This whole narrative has collapsed in real time, and watching it back now is priceless. It's one of those moments where you can't help but sit back, laugh, and appreciate just how out of touch these takes were. It's a textbook example of why bad arguments don't hold up over time.
Also doesn't answer my point, though it buttresses one of the main points I am making. Yeah, this is cheap labor, and particularly...
But then why isn't the book called Thugs?
Well...
How corporate Republicans are decimating the middle class.
Stupid.
Okay.
In fact, as I told Scott, that's the one error in the book, the title. I didn't argue. You haven't read the book.
I've read it 3 times.
But I'll tell you what's in it.
On the plane,
It is
in the
far
hot
more of
tub,
an
once
attack.
high, once straight.
It is far more of an attack on Republicans, on big business, on the Chamber of Commerce than it is on the left.
I agree.
I didn't want to subject at all, but if I listed all the people who are trying to turn our country into a third world hellhole, it would go on to the back page.
Let me ask you something personal.
Look, the question is still... I'm glad you're here, but why should America care that other people of the world are happy? They should care about the ones who are here now, including you.
And all the fruit you eat, all the vegetables you eat, they are all picked by foreign labor.
They can be picked by machines. These are all people going to be on welfare soon. Yes, there are machines that can now pick strawberries.
No, you cannot
strawberries, tomatoes, and you don't have to pay them Social Security.
Picked by machines.
You don't. That's because they're
who come to this country with their families and eat their food.
All right. You know what?
But you won't. You will not recognize the justice of
their labor. The answer is you can mechanize Americans.
We're not going to. You know what? This is over.
Talked over and I couldn't answer.
Yeah, I know.
What are they even arguing here? Do you need some kind of PhD to pick fruit? Machines can do it, toddlers could probably manage it. Seriously, anyone can. And let's be real, in some of the corrupt countries these people are fleeing from, it probably is being done by children. The sheer ignorance in these arguments is beyond belief. It's almost like they've completely detached from reality and built an echo chamber where common sense doesn't exist. And look, I'm not claiming to be a genius, but come on. The bar here is so low, it's almost laughable. If it weren't for the audience loudly cheering every time someone merely disagreed with Ann Coulter, or as I almost mistakenly called her, Anna Kasparian, these people would look like complete fools. It's the classic illusion of competence. Bill Maher and his audience creating the false impression that his panelists are making solid points, when, in reality, they're floundering. Now imagine if this debate had no interruptions, no performative applause, no audience safety net. Coulter's opponents would be left exposed, fumbling through their talking points with nowhere to hide. Even with the odds stacked absurdly against her. Seriously, it's more like 104 on 1 if you count the crowd. She still obliterated them. It wasn't even a fair fight. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to hit the like button and drop a comment with your thoughts. I'd love to hear what you think. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. Your support really helps out and keeps the content coming. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.